Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we have an exciting project for you. You can see behind me we finally have our Sunterra 36-inch Ironworks wood-fired Argentine grill finally installed. After sitting probably in our garage for 8 months waiting for this day, we finally got there. So excited. As you can see, we finally have it in place, but we do have a little bit of assembly left, which we'll get to. And then we'll season the grates, get our first cook going. But before we get there, let's pause. Let me take you back a number of months and show you the journey to get here and how we, poured the slab to support this wood-fired grill, and then how my wife and I managed to get this 400-some pound behemoth into place and into the countertop by ourselves, which was not fun. But anyway. So let's get to it and show you what we did. All right, so we are ready to pour some concrete. So I want you to see how I did this quick before I get started. And so again, using cement board here to span that gap, that opening. Got a 2x4 in the front here. So when it's poured and finished, I have a full concrete front face and you don't see the cement board. That 2x4 is just sitting on some legs with shims. So once I'm done, I can pull those shims out and drop those legs easy. Then I have a 4x4 here that is spanning the front. Put a 1x on that, screwed it down, and then some 3-inch slices of melamine around the edges to create the form. And then again, using double-sided tape, I've got my rock face liners that I'm reusing for my prior pours, and got some old dried up Crete on them, but they'll work. So all that went together pretty well. I've siliconed all the gaps, and so shouldn't have any leakage. Then I got the rebar in using 1/2-inch rebar. I'm going to pull them out, and then after I pour the first inch or so, I'll put those back in. So that is pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. Notice I was able to use one of those concrete countertop solutions back edge form pieces. I just got some Gorilla Glue out of the tubes and stuck her right on there, and she held. So that should make the screeding process much easier as we go. Again, like last time, I'm going to use the reciprocating saw to vibrate the form and everything, make sure I get rid of as many air bubbles as possible. Got my mixing set up over here, using some Quikrete. I'm using concrete, straight concrete for this because it's going to be holding the Argentine Grill, which is 400-some pounds. So I'll be mixing 1 bag at a time in a bucket with the mixer. I'm going to be adding in a scoop here of some extra Portland cement just to give it a little bit more. I find these to be lean typically, so hopefully that'll help on the finishing. And then I have my colorants over here measured out, same recipe we used for the rest of the countertops. So got everything ready to roll. Should go 6 or 7 bags maybe, I'm thinking. So let's get the camera set up and see how it goes. right, so welcome back. And now that you're all caught up, let's get to finishing the assembly on this Sunterra Ironworks Argentine Grill. So the first step, really, there isn't much assembly required at all. We just need to take the packing material off. There's a flywheel we need to install. There's the brake we need to install. And then it's installing the grates and start the seasoning process. So let's get to it. The next step then is just to grab your flywheel, which is what you're going to use to lower, raise the grate, and just put it on to where the handle's on the outside, the gear is on the inside, and you're just going to line up the hole that's between the flywheel and the gear with the hole that's on the grill. And once that's lined up, you're just going to put the cotter pin through that hole and bend it over on the other side to hold it into place. And there we go. And then we're going to open the door, which will expose the support for your grate, and they just provide this drip tray that's not installed. It's in some individual packaging. It's just two little tabs, and you're just going to go ahead and slide those tabs through those screw heads and drop it into place, and it should just sit there just like that. The last thing we need to do to complete the installation is to put the handbrake on. The handbrake will go on right here next to the grill, mounted onto the grill next to your flywheel. Now that I'm looking at it, kind of thinking maybe I should have done this before I put the flywheel on, but we'll see what happens. So the first thing we're going to do is just go ahead and raise the grate up. And we're just going to go ahead and raise it all the way up just so we have access just so we get some good access for the firewood. So we got that up. So now we're going to grab some firewood quick. And I'm going to go ahead and try to use my torch to get this fire started. We'll see if it's good enough. Okay, I think we have the fire going now. Went ahead and closed the door. It's a little bit windy today, so I was closing the door thinking maybe keeping some of the wind out of it might help the fire go, and it looks to be going pretty well now. So as you can see, 5 minutes has passed. Went ahead and added another log just to kind of get it going, and you can see the fire is now roaring pretty well. So we're just going to let her sit and burn down the coals. Check back in 20. All right, welcome back everyone. It's been about 30 minutes since we since we lit those original splits. Since then, I went ahead and added 3 more, and I've gone to use the provided rake here. I'll grab and show you the provided rake from Sunterra to just go ahead and move these coals around so we try and get some heat across the entire grate. And so once I did that, I now have the grates installed, and you want to be careful installing these grates. There is a front and a back, and if you do put it on backwards, your front grates will actually stick out beyond the front of your drip tray, which wouldn't be good. Obviously your grease will drip into the grill. So make sure you put it on that your edge of your grates line up with the middle of the drip pan. You can tell which ways, because one side of the grates, the metal bar, it's welded closer to the front of the grate, where on the back side it's a little bit further inset. So that's just one way you can tell. But I went ahead and sprayed the back of these grates with some Pam vegetable or canola oil, which will be good enough to season the back of the grates. For the surface of the grates, I'm going to go ahead and use some grapeseed oil. That has a higher burning temp, smoking temp. So we're just going to go ahead and use that to try to get a good seat. Whoa! Well, all right. Well, that was unexpected. Don't accidentally hit the brake. So I am using grapeseed oil to season my grates. I'm going to use just a paper towel with some tongs, dip it in the oil and apply it to the cooking surface. You can use really lots of different kinds of oil. This is just what I'm choosing. So I'm just going to dip it and start applying it. And you can use a cotton cloth for this, which would probably work a little bit better. I don't have one handy, so we're using paper towels, which should work just fine. Just be careful not to catch them on fire if you're using something like paper towels. You just want to put a nice thin, even coat. Okay, going to set that aside. Going to go ahead and close the door. And all we're going to do is just lower the grate down. Closer to the fire to heat them up and get them to smoking temp. All right, and there we have it. That's pretty much it. So we're just going to go ahead and let the heat and the coals do their work. And really what's going to happen here is that oil that we've applied to these grates is going to transform into a polymer, and it's going to create a really nice, dark, almost non-stick cooking surface for us when it's done. So I'm going to let this roll probably 30 minutes. And we'll check back and see how it looks. All right, so went ahead and raised the grates. This is about another 15 or so minutes has gone by. You can see now all the grate is black and matte finish, so all the oil has turned to polymer, and so now the grate's protected, it won't rust, and also it's be almost a, like a slightly non-stick surface for us when we cook. Now I'm only going to do one coat. You can do multiple coats if you wish. I'm just going to do one because I plan on using it, and the fats in your meats and your oils, on whatever you may cook on this, are going to be a natural seasoning. So every time you really use this, it's going to continue to season and build up flavor and build up protection on the grates. So one is good enough for me, and again, I use grapeseed oil, and it seemed to work well. All right, everyone. So that's all that's to it on installing, assembling, and seasoning your Sunterra Ironworks Argentine Grill. And this would really be not just for the Sunterra, but really any sort of outdoor grill that you need to season. Really, it's the exact same process, and it really is and very important, but also very, very easy. So hope you enjoyed the video. Check back because there's going to be another video right after this release. That's going to be the first cook, and we'll give it a go and see how it does with some steak. So thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate it, and check back.